I just need a moment as a mother because that was just incredible to be able to watch your own son at age 9 present his first TEDxYouth talk and then to be introduced the way that I just was introduced. It is an honor to be here today with you, and this is a wonderful bonsai that was just created this week that displays both my son and myself. So today I'm here to talk about digital citizenship. And what is digital citizenship? If you ask 10 different people in this room today, you're going to get 10 different answers. Why does it have to be so complicated? In the simplest terms, digital citizenship is being safe, savvy, and ethical. And today, with the help of good old Charlie Brown, I'm going to explain digital citizenship to you today. Generations have coined him as a blockhead, really. But to me, Charlie Brown has always been so much more than just the underdog. To me, Charlie Brown has always been my hero. I would pick Charlie Brown as my 12th player 1,000,000 times over any MVP. He'd be the student I'd want in my class. He'd be the friend I'd want by my side every single day. Why? He's kind all the time. He's principled. He doesn't just follow the crowd. He's a problem solver. And regardless of how many times he might come up short, Charlie Brown never gives up. Which begs the question, how would Charlie Brown function as a student in a 21st century classroom today? What would Charlie Brown be like with a device and on social media? I believe Charlie Brown would be the same online as he is offline. To me, Charlie Brown is the ultimate digital citizen. So here's my story with the help of good old Charlie Brown. First, Charlie Brown chooses kind every time. Regardless if Charlie Brown is on the baseball field, he's at school, he's practicing for a school play, directing it, he's kind to everybody he meets. If Charlie Brown was online, he would be tweeting out authentic compliments. Like one of my favorite student examples, Jeremiah Anthony, when he was a sophomore in high school, he started a Twitter handle called West High Bros. And this Twitter handle was really to start that he realized that one person can make a change. And as one student, he started to tweet out authentic compliments. And so I think Charlie Brown and Jeremiah Anthony and West High Bros would be fast friends. And you know, the example of Jeremiah Anthony, I've had him virtually join my classroom, both at the undergraduate and the graduate level. And to me, he's just like a perfect student example about a student really passionate about changing school culture. So if Charlie Brown saw anything that was mean or humiliating, he wouldn't retweet it or repost it. What he would do instead is he would fill people's buckets with kindness, and he'd fill their cyber buckets as well. Imagine Charlie Brown, this is one of my favorite analogies, skipping stones. For any of you that like to skip stones, it's got this nice ripple effect. So if Charlie Brown was skipping stones, and when you skip that stone, and especially if that stone is something kind, where that ripple ends, you change your community, and you change other communities. So I want to go back in time, and I want everyone to have an opportunity to remember what you were like as an adolescent. So we were all clumsy and awkward, just like Charlie Brown, and adolescence is certainly a misunderstood age, and our adolescents ask the same 3 questions all day long. Who am I? How do others view me? And where do I fit in? All day long, they recycle these 3 questions as they try on different personas. And so Charlie Brown, the only thing that is different is that when I was a teenager, when Charlie Brown was very popular, there was no social media. So for our adolescents today, The idea of what the decisions that they're making as they're answering these questions, it brings things to a whole new level. And it reminds us why we need to be more like Charlie Brown. So, lesson 2, Charlie Brown focuses on character. What you do when you think other people are watching you, that's your reputation. What you do when you think nobody's watching you, that's your character. And today, I want to encourage you that we need to help our students to focus in on character. Be like Charlie Brown. Don't follow the crowd. Don't just do something because everybody's doing something. Be loyal and consistent, and regardless if you're on an anonymous site or you think your snap might disappear, be the same person online and offline. Later today, we're going to hear from Timmy Sullivan, high school senior Timmy Sullivan. And before I met Timmy in real life, I could speak of Timmy's character based on his online choices. In fact, I asked Timmy to be our student speaker before I ever met him. And so for our inaugural Digital Citizenship Summit in October, that was the first time I ever met Timmy Sullivan. Now this is powerful because many teens think that when they're online, they're just communicating, with other peers. But when in fact there's this like unintended audience. In fact, it's a global audience. And this highlights why the choices that we make should go beyond just being concerned about our reputation and really focus in on our character. We also need to help our students to be able to humanize the person next to them as well as the person across the screen. We need to see the humanity in each person that we meet. And we really need to help our students to be able to think and act at a local, global, and digital level simultaneously. Because when we change our community, we change other communities. It's a ripple effect. Third, Charlie Brown solves problems and he creates solutions. In 2016, if Charlie Brown was in your classroom, he would be a Maker Ed maker. He'd be a TEDxYouth speaker. He would be a genius, our genius. He'd be busy connecting and collaborating with a global network to make the world better. And just like my son, he would be solving problems. He'd be interested in knowing more about how can we make sure that we have digital access for all students everywhere. Committed to changing his own community for the better, Charlie Brown reminds us what it means to be part of the human race. So I've heard this story before, and I'm going to adapt it today. So there was this connected educator, and she was really busy. And she had this 9-year-old son. And one day when she was working, and she really needed to be focused on her work, her 9-year-old son wanted her attention. And so she ripped out a page out of a magazine, and that page out of the magazine happened to be a picture of a world map. She ripped up that world map, and she said to her 9-year-old son, why don't you, here's some tape, why don't you take some time and put the world together? Put it back together again. And so that busy mom thought, oh, that was great. That'll buy me a few days. And within a few hours, she was so surprised because her 9-year-old son came back and the world was back together again. She was so surprised. How did this happen? And so when she asked her son, the son said, well, I noticed on the other side of that magazine, of the picture of the world, there was the picture of a man. So I decided I would fix the man. I'd fix the man first, and when I flipped it over, I realized that I had fixed the world. And so the moral for today in that story is, when you repair the man, you repair the world. So I want you all to go out and skip your stones. And I want you to focus on solving solutions and focusing on how you can change your community. When you start with your own school community, it's going to have a ripple effect. And it's going to change from your school to your community, to your neighborhood, to your state, and it is going to go around the world. Just like Charlie Brown, let's focus on solving problems and creating solutions. Let's help our students learn the difference between being active citizens, not just residents, enablers of change, not just bystanders. Is this easy to do? Not always. But if we focus on being part of the solution, we'll be problem solvers, just like Charlie Brown. My last lesson, thanks to Charlie Brown, is to never, ever give up. This is Charlie Brown's mantra. Although Lucy always pulls the football the second he's about to kick it, Charlie Brown never gives up hope that today's the day that I'm going to be able to kick this football. Every single time he backs up, and with such focus and clarity, he believes today is the day I'm going to kick that football to the end zone. Charlie Brown would apply this never give up approach to being online. He would work on that blog post until it was just right. He'd understand the power of social media and would constantly work on his online identity. He'd build up his digital portfolio. Of course, he'd participate in digital citizenship chats on Twitter. And he would stand out from his peers because he'd understand the importance of being a good digital citizen. Personally, I am tired of all the scare tactic stories we see in the headlines and all the stories we hear about students using social media in inappropriate ways. Just like the student stories I shared with you today about Jeremiah Anthony, Timmy Sullivan, and my son, Curran D. There are students all around the world using social media in positive and practical ways. And they're focused on solving problems. So let's start making a conscious decision every day to go beyond focusing on all the bad and negative stories that are and focus on all the positive and practical ways. Let's flip the script and tell the stories that don't make the headline. And let's make digital citizenship a verb and help our students bridge the physical gap between communities by connecting, collaborating, learning, doing digital citizenship together with other students in classrooms around the world. Let's help our teachers and students become active citizens and enablers of positive change. Let's focus on empathy, and let's break the internet with kindness. So let's keep skipping stones and amplifying student voice by showing the world how social media is used in positive and practical ways. And the next time someone says, of all the Charlie Browns in the world, you're the Charlie Brownest, just know that you have received the highest digital citizenship stamp of approval you could ever possibly receive. Now, let's all go out there and be more like Charlie Brown. Thank you.